So hello everyone again and welcome back to our channel. My name's Allie.
And I'm Stephen.
And we are the Mindset Junkies, if you didn't know already.
Something we say every time, just putting it out. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, apologies about last week, a little bit of a technical glitch, but we
My
are
fault.
in the process. Well, I think none of us foresaw what would happen there. So yeah, I think it's all of us on this one. But we are basically looking to get that session re-recorded and exploring it in a little bit more detail. So Ali, what's on the agenda for today?
Well, today it's an interesting topic, considering that you're feeling a little bit under the weather, but we really want to talk a little bit about health and well-being, really, and why it's so important to actually take a little bit more charge and take a little bit more interest in your body. We talk a lot about mindset and how it needs to be healthy, and it needs to be positive, and it needs to be in a growing phase. But I'm a great believer that there's no point in having an amazing mindset and being happy with your lot, and you are on lots of pharmaceutical drugs, and you've got aches and pains, and you've got something that you need to go and have an exploratory on, or you need to have a machine have a deeper look inside you to see exactly what's going wrong with you, because that means that your whole chi is out of alignment. I'm a great believer that, if your mind, your body and your spirit are all balanced quite well and they're all at that equilibrium, then that is life's utopia. That is really where quality of life is lived at its best. I mean, what do you think about that philosophy?
Yeah, I do agree. Like we was reflecting on the start, wasn't there? There's so many facets of what we've kind of come to learn and experience around this, that it's as we talk about, it's not just the mindset piece, it's about how we're looking after our physical self too. Because if we're not doing that, then it's like we're going to struggle in those other areas as well. And it's like nutrition, I think, is one of the key things here, isn't it? That if we're constantly loading ourselves up with takeaways and fast foods and but is it the yellow foods they're called? I can't remember. So things like the breads, the pastries, beige food,
Beige food. Yeah.
It's like those kind of things that they're not very nutritious, and you just have to think what the long-term impact is on our health. And also the reflection of some of the most long-living people in the world, and the often the diets that they report that they was eating, and it's often people who aren't exposed to some of the things that particularly us in the Western world are exposed to, is it? Like these fast food chains and so on. It's more of a natural diet, but I know diet is only one facet.
It is. I mean, I had a bit of an epiphany moment. Going to be about a good 18, 20 months ago, when I was full-blown menopausal madness, and I didn't know who I was really. I had so many awful symptoms of going through the menopause, and I had a look at all the other different sort of like therapies, all the HRT, vitamin supplements, the whole spectrum of different things that were dangled in front of me to make the menopause an easier process to go through. And the menopause is not just a physical condition in terms of you losing a lot of the key hormones that have been running around your body since you were a 10, 11, 12-year-old, but the mindset, the physiological and psychological effects, they're both coming at you. It's like they're getting you in a pincer movement, and it's a really awful time of your life. And when you're in the midst of it and you're losing the essence of who you are, and it gives you a little bit of a moment to sort of think, do you know what, when this is all over, I've still got a third of my life to live after all of this. And it does make you think a little bit about your mortality as well. When do I think that I'm potentially going to, pop off this mortal coil? And, I'm in my 60th year now. So, you know, I've been thinking about my own mortality for quite a few years now, hoping that, you know, I live a long life. But it's not just about living a long life, it's about living a long life that is a quality of life, that I'm still able to, with ease, do a lot of the things that I want to do. And that comes with knowing that, you know, I haven't got a mortgage, you know, children have left home. There is, you're kind of like back in that honeymoon period again with your partner, if you're with a partner, because you've all of a sudden got all of this disposable income, and you've got this freedom then to be able to do all the things that you've wanted to do and not been able to in your, you know, 30s, 40s, maybe even your 20s. So it really made me think quite a little bit about, I cannot keep doing to my body what I was doing to my body. And coupled with that, it was, how can I traverse this whole menopause that I'm going through in a way that is going to be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, palatable, but at the same time set myself up for, you know, that final third of my life, so that I could essentially hit the ground running. So there was quite a lot of, you know, things that all came about at the same time that really made me stop and think. I know that you've had some things happen in your life as well, where you've just had that epiphany moment that's really made you sort of like think and visualize, you know, what your future, you know, might be like in terms of your physical capabilities.
Yeah, I have, and it happened a number of years ago, like about what was it now, 15 years ago. Wow. And that was
Wow.
the thing that triggered from my very unhealthy lifestyle, where I was vastly overweight. I drank a lot. I was a student, so I was living the student life, living away from home and things like that. And you know, it's completely right that I just used to sit around playing computer games with friends, drinking beer, eating pizza, you know, things like that. And my university suffered as a result. I didn't have the focus, didn't have the desire. So I definitely hear what you're saying about this kind of harmonious nature of, you know, if we get all these different things aligned, it's not just mindset, just as you say.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
all of the other areas that all feed into another. One part of the thing that kickstarted my fitness journey, it was the momentum around it. So it was like, it's all about making it easy for yourself as you go. I found that it's like I was going to the gym and doing the same thing every day in the gym. I was doing 40 minutes on the cross trainer every day. That's it.
Yeah.
I was watching what I was eating. I enjoyed myself. There was no question about that. I did occasionally have the lads are getting pizza this weekend, I get a pizza. But for the rest of the week, it was watching what I'd ate. So then also the mind as well, naturally, with meditation and so.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's this balance between them, isn't it? So I'm interested, you've talked quite a bit about this journey that you've been on. So is there anything that stands out as being kind of, like I've mentioned a few things there, is there anything on your side that you found most useful that's worked for you?
I did quite a lot of research into, I guess, a little bit of the vicious circle of how easy it is that we're duped to get into a lifestyle, especially from an eating perspective, how easy it is for us to get into that lifestyle of, like you say, pizzas, takeaway food, alcohol. And don't get me wrong, I love all of that stuff. You know, I've been overweight since I left the Navy when I was in my late 20s. So, you know, I'm not saying that I'm any kind of, you know, angel in all of this. I was massively overweight as well, and I wasn't being healthy. But I then recognized how easy it was for me to be duped into, you know, all of this subliminal messaging, you know, always on the TV about all of this fantastic food and very complex and poor information from the NHS, from the health and the experts around what is it that makes you fat? Is it fat or is it sugar? So there's been an awful lot of misinformation as well. And then because of the, you know, when you go to the supermarket, the way that they market specific things to you as well, you can see how you're being duped and tricked into living this easy fast food bourgeoisie kind of lifestyle that it's very difficult to get kind of off that treadmill, pardon the pun, but it really, really is. And then before you know it, 20, 25, 30 years have gone by and you've piled the weight on. You don't really feel like going to the gym. You just want to have a good time. And that's when your body starts to actually start hollowing out and saying, oh, my joints are sore, my back is sore, I can't get into my clothes any longer. You know, I've got diabetes, I need to go on some tablets. Or, you know, I've got heart or stroke kind of like warning signs there. And the longer that goes on, the more likely you are to get into your 40s and 50s and have these life-threatening diseases, and they creep up on you really, really fast. But what's quite scary is you're seeing more and more of that happening in young children now. So I just did some research to really understand where is it that this subliminal messaging is coming from. And once that penny dropped and I saw the association between the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry, I then knew that that was a merry-go-round I had to try and go off.
Yeah. I agree. At university, my wife did public health and nutrition, and for weekend work, so she could build up experience, she was doing programs with overweight and obese children to basically teach them fundamentals of basically health, better eating. And they did things like, I'm sure you all may have seen these before, where it's like clear bags of either sugar or fat, which is then representative of how much sugar and fat are in specific items.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible. Like one thing that she often said is, like, we'd walk around the supermarket and there'd be the fridge milkshakes. So they are absolutely horrendous.
Loaded.
Yeah, it's funny because, as Ali said, I'm not feeling very well at the moment. And when my mum came over, I've got a sore throat. So she bought me a bottle of fridge milkshake and I was like, oh, yes, because it's so soothing. But the first thing Sam said to me is just watch it with that, because that is very, very bad. You know, and it makes you wonder how the companies can go on and sell this stuff. You know, there has been a lot of a crackdown, because if you think about the sugar tax on things like Coca-Cola and things, it has shifted to being lower than it was, but it's still not healthy. And just as you were saying there, Ali, it is very easy to buy things, to be fed information that isn't necessarily correct, and it has a detrimental effect on our health.
Completely. And I think as well that you know, when you look at how the food companies actually test, you know, new products that are about to launch, whereas, you know, years ago they would feed some volunteers some food and they would then be asked to give a verbal response on whether they liked it or not, and based on the verbal response that would then go back and it would they put more sugar or more salt or whatever in it and then retest it again. But it's like anything to do with, you know, that human intervention, it's always a little bit biased in terms of the responses that you're going to get. So as this technology has moved on, they're not relying on a verbal response, they're actually now relying on actually getting a response from your brain. So, you know, they put all these electrodes on you, they get you to taste something that's laden with sugar or salt or whatever, and what happens is your brain sends off a signal, and then they put more into it, they get you to taste it, and your brain sends off another heightened signal. So when that signal gets to its optimum level, that's when they know that that's when they're going to be feeding you something that's highly addictive, because that's what they want. You know, the food industries want you to get addicted to something so that you need to have it on a daily basis or 3-4 times a day. And that's what then over time builds up the inflammation that you have in your body and around your major organs, which is then what stops your own body being able to heal itself. You know, we are designed to be our own NHS. You know, our bodies can actually heal itself of anything, but it's like, you know, it's like a car. You put dirty diesel or dirty oil in the car, eventually all of the components and nuts and bolts in the car are going to seize up. Your body's just the same. So it's when you sort of like realize how easy it's been for you to be put into this sort of like, well, this sliding scale of just disease and pharmaceutical tablets, which then have their own side effect. It's a bit of a sort of scary thing to recognize, but it's never the thing is, it's never too late to start changing that. And that's what you and I both done. You know, we've both gone and out and actually started to take steps to, you know, reversing the long-term damage of, you know, some of the damage that we did when we were younger, that we both admitted that we did.
Yeah, to agree. And there is a group that I follow them on Facebook. I don't know why. It's called Team RH. I don't know what the RH stands for, but I guess I have a bit of affinity because I'd lived in Newcastle for quite a bit, and the two people who own it are Geordies. So it's just funny to watch some of the videos. And he's very outspoken, to be honest. It is funny in his videos. But what he talks about is that if you are on a journey to lose weight, then that is entirely different to being on one where you are actually, in a way, that you are looking after your body, right? Because the key is it's calorie deficit. So what he promotes is like, if you want, go out and have your 2 McDonald's a day. As long as you just have your 2 McDonald's a day and you come under that 2,000 calorie allowance, you'll lose weight.
Yeah.
But what he also promotes is about the consistency and the longevity of it. That if you go about eating 2 McDonald's a day for the rest of your life, you might lose weight, right? But you won't live very long. So, it's this balance, isn't it, between them?
It is. And it's what you actually, it's like you say, you know, the calorie deficit thing is one thing. I mean, I want to have a 6-pack. I want to have a better toned body. But I'm okay with the fact that I haven't, because I know that what I'm taking care of is what's inside. I know that my organs are actually getting much stronger, much healthier. I've reduced the inflammation around my joints, my brain, and, you know, all of my key organs, that they're functioning an awful lot better because I have actually started to heal myself from the inside out. And this is just a veneer at the end of the day. It's what's actually going on within my body that's actually going to give me that longevity, that quality of life.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things that can also help us on this journey as well, isn't there? Like, it's things like the tech that can help us. Like, as I've said, I'm not very well, right? And I've got this ring called an Aura ring, and it checks in on the vitals, essentially. So it's like heart rate variability, body temperature, resting heart rate, and things like that. Yeah. And it detects when you're ill. There's no, like, about a year and a half ago when I had COVID, it detected it 2 days before, because it started noticing an elevation in body temperature. It noticed a decrease in my heart rate variability. And then suddenly, bang, the symptoms came on. And I looked back and thought, that's actually really good signal. And then, like, talking about kind of the health, fitness, things like that, there's things that Garmin do really well with their watches. It's things like the VO2 max. So this is basically how you perform as an athlete. It's the amount of oxygen that you can begin to take into your lungs, I believe. So as you train more, then that's naturally going to increase. So it's things like that can also help you along on the journey to basically optimal health. Like, it gives you targets to then go and hit. It's like you're not potentially going blind into things here.
I completely agree. I'm very lucky with my employer that, other than when we were in lockdown, I get a complete 360 health check done every year, and it's a full half day. It's quite intense, and just being able to understand how many metal traces you've got in your body, and whether they're within the average or the tolerant levels, and how can you get rid of those, what your white and your blood cell count is like, because essentially that's your cleansing and your transport system of getting oxygen, water, and blood around your body, which is all the elixirs of life. That's what your body needs in order to survive. So the more oxygen you can get around your body, and the more clean oxygen you can get around your body, great. Similar with water, and obviously your blood not having too many toxins in it. When you actually think about it, that makes absolute logical sense. And that's why I'm not a big fan on, going to the gym and working on, lifting weights and whatever, because I felt that I really needed to take care of what was happening inside. And I think COVID for me as well also was a trigger where, I was in that, catchment area in terms of my age, diabetic, high cholesterol. If I was going to get COVID a couple of years ago, I was at that time deemed to be someone that was quite likely not to come through it particularly well. So I knew that I had to really work on my internal health, and just doing a little bit of research and actually starting on a health protocol that was all around how I could look after my internal body was really important. And that doesn't mean going out and popping cod-liver tablets and magnesium and zinc and everything else. It's got to be based on the quality of it, consistency of it, and the making sure that your body actually needs all of those things. So feed it what it needs and leave out what it doesn't need. So I'm a big fan of going and having some sort of in-depth 360 health check done, so that you can actually identify and pinpoint the areas of your internal health that are triggers for other things that could potentially happen. And that for me was a big help. And they're not expensive anyway, but that for me was a really big help to be able to start to work on specific areas and look at something that was test-based as well, so that I could test myself on a regular basis to say, is this actually working for me?
Yeah, I think the data is key, isn't it? It's like, I remember that I've seen them quite a few times on Facebook. They look like little jellies. And what they say is it's a layer of vitamins in each layer of these little jelly type things, totally customized to what you need. And it's baffling, because it's like, I remember again, it goes back to this Team RH thing, that what they say is that quite a lot of these things, they will just pass straight through your system.
Absolutely. You need something that's going to be staying in your system for, as long as possible. Because if it's just going to pass through within a matter of hours, that's not enough time for it to get around your system. And also, a 300-pound man is going to need a different combination and a different quantity of these little jelly things than, a 100-pound woman. So, and if you look at any of these boxes or bottles of things, they usually just say adults take 2, children take 1. But we all come in different shapes and sizes. So, it's not one size fits all either.
Yeah, definitely agree. And on the physical stuff, there was a couple of things that, there was one thing that we spoke about at the start that I wanted to bring up. And also, speaking about this has actually brought up another very relevant topic for us, because we both know the guy from our Tony Robbins ventures. So I'll speak about the guy I'm referring to. So we know Matt and Tisney. Right, so he joined the Tony Robbins group. It would have been right at the start of Inner Circle, wasn't it? About a year and a half ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he joined us. I think he said he weighed about 600-700 pounds. Maybe he was literally bedridden. He was getting carers out to him on a 24/7 basis to literally do everything for him. And he realized that was not the life that he wanted to live, and that he didn't deserve to live that. And I think more so, his family didn't deserve to live that either, in basically being a part of looking after him. And he's now on an absolutely incredible journey, because he got that motivation to instill the change that Allie and I have basically been speaking about from a health perspective. And I know he hasn't checked in for a while, but I think he's actually down to, isn't he, like down to about 350 or something at the moment?
He hasn't.
I saw recently.
He's just gone back to work as well. So he's essentially, he's been out of work for a long time because he was bedridden. He couldn't literally get to his door. But he's just gone back to work recently. So
yeah, the doctors, they'd written him off. They'd completely written him off. And it was remarkable seeing his journey, because one thing for sure, and anybody who's embarking on this journey, Allie and I would have been both the same, that it wasn't like we didn't get discouraged because we didn't hit our target within a couple of weeks. It was recognizing that there are those incremental steps forward around it, and there are multiple facets to it. So I think with all of us, there was the physical exercise side of things, there was the nutrition side of things, there was the mindset side of things, and all of them need to be there working in tandem to help move you forward. And relating to this, like I mentioned, didn't I, about my leg. So one of the things that instigated my transformation in life was that I broke my leg in 2006. I had to have a plate put on the leg to basically stitch the bone together. And I had the plate in for about 2 years, and it was causing me issues. Like, it was just painful at times. Like, what my gran used to always say was, "Oh, the winter's coming because it's getting cold. Like, you know, you feel it in your bones and all this stuff." But because of that pain, eventually, so the doctors said, "Right, what we'll do another surgery. We'll take the plate out, and that should fix it." No, it didn't help at all. The pains were still there. So then they said, "Right, what we've got these injections, cortisol injections. That should definitely fix it. Let's go ahead and do cortisol injections." So we went and did that, and it was about 3 years had passed altogether at this point, and still, the pain was still there. I started running, and I've not had the pain since. So, it's baffling. Like, one of the things I put in the text to you, Allie, was basically motion is lotion with this. And I will never have the same level of mobility in my ankle ever again that I had before it was broken. There's no question about that. But the fact that I am regularly testing it, that I'm regularly exercising it, I'm regularly moving it, that's meaning that it's okay. Like, I don't feel it. I don't feel the pain. Like, the pain's not there anymore.
Yeah. But like I said, everybody's got the capability to actually heal themselves. How many stories do we hear about, people who are told that they've got cancer and they don't accept it. They're not going to just sit back and say, right, okay, well, that's it. I've got cancer. Woe is me. I'm going to have all of this chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which when you think about it, is just adding more and more toxins to your already weakened body. They find other ways to detox themselves. They start thinking about the inside and how can they actually make this vessel that they're living in something that, turn it around into something that will actually start healing itself. Because even when you've got the cancer, your body still has the capability to actually heal itself without necessarily having all of those invasive treatments. And of course, I'm not saying that's going to be the case for every single person. I guess it depends on where the cancer is and also how long it's been allowed to get to the point that it has. But so many cancer victims have actually been able to heal themselves just by changing their lifestyle. And they've had that motivation to do that because they've had the right mindset. They've been consistent. They've had a goal. They've been very, very clear about what their goal is. And that's why we sort of talk a little bit about this sort of like mind and body and spirit alignment happening at the same time, because without all of those three things, with all of those three things, we all stand the chance of having a much, much better quality of life. So, if I go back to my situation, going through the menopause and all that entailed, I was on type 2 diabetic drugs that I was actually getting to the point where I was having to increase my twice daily dose. I was on statins for high cholesterol. And I was then looking at potentially being someone on other tablets as well, going into hospital to have facet injections in my back and in my knee. I am now pain-free. I don't have a pain anywhere in my body. I'm off all of my pharmaceutical drugs simply because I've given my internal body the opportunity to actually heal itself. I've been able to undo a lot of the damage that I've done over the last 30 years. So, it is possible to do it as long as you find the right strategies and the right products that specifically do target the areas that you need to work on. So I'm fitter than I was when I was in my late 20s, when I was in the Royal Navy and playing netball for Scotland River. And I'm in my 60th year. So, you know, it is possible, but you need that positive mindset in order to be able to, you know, find that motivation, that consistency, and that positive state to actually do it. You are more than likely the exact same way in terms of what happened with your legs. So, you know, we are testaments to how that actually can happen.
I think that's a fantastic way to finish today, to be honest. And well done, Allie. That is the remarkable transformation, and it brought to light for me. I saw a post on one of the football groups on Facebook the other day, and it was a French football manager, Arsene Wenger. He's 72, and the title was something like "How Ripped Wenger Is." And you wouldn't expect it, because he usually wears like a really big baggy coat, really long and stuff. And since he's retired from football, he's basically focused on his body and his mind, evidently. And you've got people on there commenting saying he's double the age of me and he's like in amazing condition. It's like, I really need to get to grip with this and sort myself out. It's like, you know, just get on with it, do it. There's absolutely nothing stopping you doing it, just as both Allie and I have showed you. And Matt, mentioning Matt.
I'm mentioning Matt, who's an inspiration. You know, watching him in his bed, literally doing exercises every day, he was just pushing up a resistance bar. That's how he started. Yeah. And he's now back at work. You know, he's getting married, he's got a job, he's driving, he's walking on the beach. You know, he would never have, in the 18 months ago, thought that he was ever going to be able to do that. So, you know, he's definitely an inspiration.
And yourself as well, Ali, because I know a few things that you've done there, like and the walks that you go on, that you've made them a consistent part, and you know that is naturally one thing, as well as the nutrition, as well as the diet, as well as the mindset. You know, it all plays a part, just as it has done for you.
And I still have pizza and I still have cake every now and again, because I'm a human being at the end of the day, and I can't give all that up. But it's you know, a little bit of what you fancy does you good, but it's not my everyday go-to now. So
yeah, I think that's the important thing, that if we were to follow like the rigid plan, it'd be like, oh, you know, having that ice cream tonight. But you know, you've got to live. You've got
you have got to live. But again, it's tempering that those things to be seen as not a staple diet, but seeing as things that are a reward, or you know, every now and again, not for every meal. And you know, for anybody who's watching that wants to know a little bit more about, you know, the sorts of things that Stephen and I have done to, you know, turn our health around. It's not all been about running and dieting. There's been an awful lot more to it than that, because that comes as a result of you know, just getting out and doing it. You know, your energy levels will increase anyway. And, you know, let us know. Please put something in the comments box and let us know, and we'll maybe share that with you in another episode. But as always, it's been fabulous chatting with you again here, Stephen.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have your own transformation journey that you want to share, you know, we'd be more than happy to kind of bring you on board and talk it to, you know, we love these things.
We'd love to hear about it. So as always, please subscribe and like and share this video if you think that you know some people who would benefit from it. And we look forward to joining you again next week, hopefully with no more technology issues.
I think we're over those now. Yeah. Okay, cheers everyone. Bye.
Bye.